We're so happy you could join us on today's episode of Tax Matters. My name is Pius Christina. We're in the last month of the year, the month of December 2014. We thank God for bringing us this far. We hope you have been doing well. Last episode, we brought you enforcement exercises embarked upon by the different FRS offices in Lagos and in Ibadan, as well as extracts from the sensitization workshops carried out across the country in the last 1 month. On today's episode of the program, we will serve you updates on enforcement exercises carried out in Kano and Lagos, as well as sensitization workshops held in Port Harcourt by the Port Harcourt and Rumukoroshi Micro and Small Taxpayers Offices and the Medium Tax Office. Take a seat, relax, and enjoy the ride with us for the next 25 minutes. Now to the enforcement stories. For 4 days, Monday 17th to Thursday 20th of November 2014, the Medium Tax Office in Kano and the FRS enforcement team stormed Kano to enforce on erring tax defaulters. Our crew was with them. On Monday, the team visited 4 companies. At the first company, a pharmaceutical company in Kano, they had not remitted VAT deducted as well as non-filing of returns for the past year. No agreement was reached and the assistant general manager was taken away. At the second company, an electrical distribution company, the senior officer on guard acknowledged receipt of the FRS letter informing them of their debts. They claimed some payment had been made, but the accountant was not on ground and there was no evidence to back up his claim. They had issues of non-filing of returns and non-remittance of VAT deducted from clients. He was also taken away. At the third company, a manufacturing company, they had initially paid part of the assessment rates for their company by the FRS, but they stopped. They had issues of non-filing since 2009. The manager was taken away. At the fourth company, which is also into manufacturing of electrical products, the enforcement team discovered it had been sold to a new owner who was yet to commence business. Workers on ground called the new owner on the phone and a meeting was slated for the next day at the FRS office for further discussions on the whereabouts of the old owner who had tax liabilities. On the second day, Tuesday, the 18th of November 2014, 4 companies were also enforced on. At the first company located in Sabongeri, the company is into security and consultancy services. They have tax liabilities arising from VAT and withholding tax deducted from their clients, as well as non-filing of returns. The managing director was taken away. At the second company, still in Sabongeri market, they are into distribution of food items. They had not remitted VAT as well as non-filing of returns since 2011. The manager on ground was taken away. At the third company, they are into generator and motorcycle spare parts. They had tax liabilities arising from non-filing of returns. The salesperson on ground locked his shop and was taken away when no agreement was made. At the fourth company, a cement distribution company in Kano, the manager was very cooperative. He had been paying money into the FRS account, but he had not gone to the FRS office to file his returns or collect receipts or notify the FRS offices of his payment. He was taken to the FRS office with his documents for further clarifications. On the third day, 2 companies were visited. The first company is an oil and gas company along State Road in Kano. They had tax liabilities arising from non-remittance of VAT deducted from their clients, as well as non-filing of returns for the past year. No agreement was reached, and the manager on ground was taken away by the FRS. At the second company, a manufacturing company owned by foreigners located around the industrial estate in Kano, they had not found their returns since 2013. One of the managers was taken away. On Thursday, 20th of November 2014, the FRS enforcement team visited 2 companies as well. The first company was a construction company. They had not filed their returns since 2013. The MD was taken away. The second company was also a construction company and they had not filed their returns for the past year. The accountant was taken away. While in Lagos, the Lagos Mainland East Regional Office enforced on 2 companies on Thursday, 13th of November 2014. At the first company, which is located around Bagada, they had tax liabilities arising from non-filing of returns. The managing director was not on seat and calls were put through to him by the personal assistant. The personal assistant and another member of staff of the company was taken away when an agreement could not be reached. At the second company, which is a group with several subsidiary companies, 2 of their subsidiaries had tax liabilities arising from VAT and non-filing of returns. The enforcement team were first denied access into the office. After much pressure, an officer of the company spoke to the team, saying that the managing director's office is at the factory in Amuwo Odofin, while the accountant was at another branch. They claimed part payment had been made, but there was no evidence with them. 2 of their senior officers were taken away. While on Thursday, 20th of November 2014, the large tax office Oil and Gas Downstream enforced on an oil and gas company on Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. They had written an undertaking at the FIRS office on how to pay their tax liabilities, but were not complying with the plan. The company secretary was taken away when an agreement could not be reached.
Every day, my people dey for work. Some dey do office work. Some get it them own business. So all of them want good road, constant power for better life. Whether now office work, oh yeah, pay your tax. Whether now your own business, oh pay your tax. If you want a better life, oh pay your tax. Now your civic responsibility, pay your tax. Better soup, now money cook am. Oh yes. Nothing goes for nothing, my brother. If you want potable water, security and hospital for make life jolly.
That's right. Good roads, good hospitals, portable water, adequate security all come from taxpayers' money. Play your part in making Nigeria great. Everybody, small scale, big companies, entrepreneurs, do the right thing. Pay your tax. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
Welcome back. In pursuance of efforts aimed at educating taxpayers and encouraging voluntary tax compliance, various offices of the FIRS have continued to hold sensitization workshops. On Tuesday, 4th of November 2014, the South-South Regional Office, in conjunction with Port Harcourt and Rumukurushi Micro and Small Taxpayers Offices, held its stakeholder sensitization forum on how best to handle your tax matters. Opening formalities over, 2 papers were presented on compliance issues, challenges and resolution, and issues in taxation of micro and small businesses. Mr. F.O. Obri, Regional Coordinator, South-South Region of the FIRS, summarized the highlights of the papers presented.
The law gives you a window to ask for extension of time to file the returns. Yes, it's there in the law. As long as you give legitimate reasons well in advance before the due date for the submission of the accounts, revenue will surely listen to you. The law also gives you the opportunity to file a draft account because it's conscious of the fact that maybe for some reasons the MD is not in town to sign the accounts and what have you, and what are reasons, but the account auditors have prepared the accounts, but they need to be signed. Of course, you can submit the draft account pending the signed copy of that account, and you have, succeeded in reducing some financial burdens on yourselves. Because to us, for those of you in the industry, 25,000 may not mean much to you, but 25,000 for the first month of failure, talking of CIT specifically, and 5,000 naira for each subsequent month of failure. At the end of maybe 6 months, it's coming out to quite a substantial figure. And if it unfortunately runs to a year or 2, we are talking of hundreds of thousands of naira. And this could be avoided legally. And then, of course, when we talk about payment of the liability, there is a window for instrumental payments. The law gives the taxpayers opportunity to pay up to a maximum of 6 installments in a year. So why do we have to wait until we have the complete money to render the returns? And by the time you are waiting to get the full money, you have started accumulating interest and penalty. So the original liability begins to accumulate interest to a point that sometimes even the interest and penalty far exceeds the principal element. So we can do something in that regard. And I think it's a good takeaway for us. Tax clearance certificates, because these are very touchy issues on all of us, either as individuals or corporate organizations. At one point or the other, we need tax clearance certificates. But here, for the purpose of this discussion, we are emphasizing the limited liability company tax clearance certificate. So there are tips here given to us. One of them is for us to apply on time. The law says you are entitled to your tax clearance certificates within 2 weeks of application. And if you cannot be given within those 2 weeks, then you should be given the reasons why. TCC is on payment. The law says when all the taxes have been paid. So if the taxpayer has not made his payments and is coming forward for tax clearance, of course, is an issue. Such taxpayer cannot be obliged. The advice here is that apply on time and make all relevant payments so that nobody will be giving you excuses. Use reputable tax auditors and consultants who know what to do and not settlement. I am not shying away from that word settlement. I am using it boldly, very boldly, because some quacks believe that, look, all the revenue office is interested in is money, that you go there, you just go and settle. And my dear colleagues, my dear customers, this is a very, very false, knowledge. There have been so many taxpayers that have gotten their tax clearance when the right things are done. And I'll be very glad if there's anybody in the congregation that can attest to that. It is not all of, you see, it is those who don't know what to do that finds easy way to solving problems. Some are impatient, so they run into trouble. So please use reputable auditors and tax consultants, not those that are after settlement. If your case is under tax audit and no corporation is being received, then of course it will be expected that a kind of lien be exercised over your tax clearance until the audit exercise is concluded. Because who knows, if we give you the tax clearance, even when you are not cooperating with the audit, what happens? After obtaining the tax clearance, you may never be seen the tax office again until the next year. So it could be a condition for denial.
Thereafter followed an interactive session.
My question is, maybe Grand Venice is here in Port Harcourt, and we are able to start another branch in Lagos. And maybe the branch is not exactly Grand Venice Hotel. Can we still operate with the same TIN number as we are using here in Port Harcourt?
If we are able to keep to all of this compliance, all of these things that we are needed to do, as in our head office is in Port Harcourt, and we are able to do all of this. And then we have a branch in Calabar. We have one in Delta State and in Lagos. Are we going to repeat this thing over again, or it is this compliance that we have in Port Harcourt that we also serve other places where we have our park?
For example, maybe somebody open a corporate company, maybe register the company corporate affair, and went ahead, have a tax TIN number and so on, and the person is not operating the company the way the person plans to operate it, and maybe keep it for some years. Later then, so okay, maybe later the person now sort of coming back again to start up the company. What then happened to is it that the TIN number still remains, or the person have to do another process of registration and so on again?
You are asking whether we should have one team for Port Harcourt and another team for Lagos. And gladly I will say no. Gladly I will say no, because every company is entitled to one TIN number. You will see that while the paper was being presented, we said that you bring in your document and give a TIN. Yes, it had happened before, but that one had been addressed now. During those days, you have 10 branches. We give you your TIN number. We have 01, 02, 03. And for some years now, that one had been wiped out. And so it's only one TIN. Then the other one is if you are able to keep to compliance, that whether they are expected to comply with other branches outside Port Harcourt. For instance, let me talk about some of these eateries that have franchise. So the company in Port Harcourt could be A and B, while that one in Lagos could be D and E. We face whoever is using that franchise in Port Harcourt and ask for the value-added tax that is there. Once a company is given a TIN number, that company and that TIN number will die together if they want to die. If they want to live, they will live together. There can never be a TIN number there can never be the dropping of a TIN number. Say, I've used this number for a particular date or time, then I don't want to use it again. It will be wrong, it will be illegal, and we will not legalize illegality. So the TIN number is for the lifetime of the company.
On Thursday, 13th of November 2014, the Medium Tax Office Port Harcourt held its own sensitization workshop on improving compliance through effective VAT and withholding tax administration. In his opening address, Coordinating Director of Field Operations Group, Mr. Ajayi Bamidele, had this to say.
As we are all aware, sensitization programs like this offer us opportunities to rub minds as partners in discharging this responsibility and to assist us achieve our mission and vision, which is making taxation the pivot of national development. It is noteworthy to remind us that the Medium Tax Department was created in November 2011 to cater for taxpayers with turnover threshold of 200 million to 999 million. Now, as in the event that FRS is looking for a way of how best can we serve you and serve you better than the way we have been doing, if we allow you to be subsumed in MSTO, you will be treated like any other common taxpayer. But because of your importance, we have brought you out and created another office for more professionalism to be done. And that's why we now have the medium tax payers to be treated as we are treating the large taxpayer payers. This department has 7 offices, of which Port Harcourt is one. Port Harcourt Medium Tax Office now caters for all the medium tax payers within the South-South region. There are other deliberate efforts being made by the management of FRS to meet the needs of our kings and queens and encourage voluntary compliance. And some of the efforts include the automation of tax collection system, capacity building, modernization of our offices, and introduction of automated tax clearance verification process. You will all agree with me that FRS is moving forward to see how best you can conveniently be served and you do things in more relaxed atmosphere. And one of them is introduction of IT, through which you can, even in your home, in your offices, you can file your returns. Even in the midnight, you can access it. And we put in place an IT mechanism, which we refer to as Integrated Tax Administration System. And online filing is now things that you can do. And the iTax is coming live even before the end of this year in Port Harcourt. It has already gone live in Abuja and Lagos. Management of FRS is not comfortable with non-compliance by taxpayers and now determined to go extra mile to implementing the provisions of tax laws and enforce compliance. As we speak, enforcement are ongoing in some parts of this country. And it will not be good enough to start embarrassing our taxpayers. And that's why we are saying, let us partner and do this business in accordance with the provisions of the tax law.
Papers were presented on contemporary issues in VAT Act and administration in Nigeria and withholding tax administration in Nigeria, issues and challenges. Thereafter followed an interactive session. Tax Matters spoke to the Director, Medium Tax Department, Mr. Peter Olayemi, and the Tax Controller, Medium Tax Office, Port Harcourt, on the importance of the sensitization workshop and the way forward. Why did your office decide to have this sensitization workshop, and mainly on these two topics, VAT and withholding tax?
When I resumed at Medium Tax Office Payers Port Harcourt, I realized that most of the time when taxpayers file their VAT returns, they file nil tax returns, even when they have carried out some VATable activities. The reason being that they will tell you that the VAT has been deducted as source. In fact, on several occasions, I see them when they get to the office, they collect the VAT form 002, get to the canteen behind, complete the forms, put nil, that their clients' VAT has been deducted as source. I felt there is a need to sensitize the taxpayers, and also there are these issues on credit notes that withholding taxes are not supposed to be filed on a monthly basis. So many taxpayers don't know, and even the filing of VAT returns. So I felt that these two VAT tax returns are very critical, and again that if somebody can can muster the courage to file returns on a monthly basis, the issue of annual returns will be a thing of the past. It will be easier for the person since he has developed the habit of filing returns. Thereby, he's complying on monthly basis. Then to comply on annual basis will be a very simple issue. The major objective is to improve tax compliance so that we will be able to limit the number of enforcement activities we'll carry out.
Now, what is the importance of this sensitization workshop?
Taxation is an area that a lot of people are not too familiar with. They believe it is something that is operating in the realm of conjecture. We now believe that for Federal Land Revenue Service to be able to hold these people accountable, so to say, we need to have done our own part. Educate them on the provisions of the law. Emphasize that ignorance of the law is not an excuse. It's more like a persuasion. We continue to persuade them such that by the time we now move against them, they will also have it at the back of their mind that, yes, so these people have really tried. So, and you know, education cannot be enough. We want to continue to educate, we want to continue to collaborate, we want to continue to sensitize them of the need to do their right, to discharge their obligations, because failure to discharge obligations have repercussions.
So that these issues that taxpayers are having with withholding tax, and what is the way out?
One of the major issues with withholding tax is that some taxpayers believe that once that is deducted, they don't have to prepare any account again. And we now need to tell them that whatever they are paying, through withholding tax is just an advance payment of tax. It does not absolve them of the obligation to file their returns at the end of the year. What they are paying is just payment on account. Okay, I did this business. Out of this is the 5%. Take it, keep it. So that by the end of the year, when they now prepare their returns, they will now have opportunity to use all the various advance payments to pay that tax liability, and the pressure on their cash flow will not be too much at that point in time. That is one of the issues. The other issue is that some of these taxpayers don't even know that it is a provision of the law that they should do it. So this education is to sensitize them, to let them know that it is a requirement of the law. If we get a lot of them to understand that what we are asking them to do is a legal thing, then it will improve compliance, and again, you know, the job of taxation will be made a little bit simpler.
And that's all we have for you on today's episode of Tax Matters. We thank you for joining us on this ride. Please join us next week, same station, same time. Bye for now.